Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jan Haarhuis from Utrecht University. I'm one of the participants of the JAMU University, and I'm very happy to be here leading you in this workshop. And I want to thank the Montpellier University for joining and organizing this forum, which is a very important part of our deliverables of JAMU, finding out how we need to proceed in the governance structure of our organization. What we want to do this afternoon is first we will give you some overview of how we work in JAMU with developing education, developing a master program, who were involved and how did that proceed. And then what we really would like you to do is give your input for us that we can use for the further development of the governance structure of the knowledge creation teams we are developing. So your suggestions for this part of the governance is really very welcome and helpful for us. And of course, we will use that for the further development of some kind of a white paper around the governance, which we also will share with you afterwards. So the input you give us, you will get it back, but not only your own input, but also the input from all the others. That's why we make those groups. We will use a Miro board, which can be filled in with information. We sent some of the group members an email with the Miro board. There are also people online.
Yeah, 22.
We are with the three of us, Carol Ann Sennett, she's one of the teachers. Vanessa, she's one of the educationalists. Unfortunately, Valérie Borrell, who is also one of the KCT members, she broke her back. So she's now lying down, and she could not make it to be here. But on behalf of her, I will give you a short speech that she wants to give you as her experience as a very important teacher of the Master of JAMU. So the next slide, please. This is our introduction. I will do part of it and my colleagues will take over. And then we will have the brainstorm in small groups, a short break, and then some plenary reporting. So one of the group can present the results of the input which come into the discussion in the groups. And then we can have some wrap up and next steps. So this is the program for this afternoon. JAMU, Challenge-Driven, Accessible, Research-Based Mobile, that's the acronym. And here you can see all of the existing partners. Of course, we started with 5. Barcelona University, Montpellier, ELTE in Budapest, Trinity College Dublin, and Utrecht University. And now we have 3 new partners, Würzburg University, Hochschule Ruhr-West, a University of Applied Science, and EBE University in Finland. And this is actually the picture of all the 8 universities now participating in JAMU. Yes. What we are working on is a new university model, innovative didactic concepts, and we developed a master program, Global Challenges for Sustainability, which started last September with 70 students, and we are now running for the admission for the second edition, which will start next September. Yes. We have educational principles developed. These are our principles in the main area that is the transdisciplinary approach. So it is not only the teachers, but it is the teachers who work in co-creation with external stakeholders, students, together, developing education and also taking care of the operation of education. The complete educational model is based on challenge-based learning. Next slide, please. This is our master program. We have phase 1, so 3 semesters. Phase 1 is the preparatory phase. We have a few compulsory modules, sustainability, a module on transdisciplinary research, and social innovation. And we just started the flexible phase where the students can choose a theme, water, food, or life and health. And at this moment, students are divided amongst all of our universities. That was also the case when we started in the first phase, where the students are working together face-to-face at the universities and online together with the students who are in another venue at one of the other partner universities. And now they did, some of them did a mobility, semesters mobility. And in this phase, we also have some field trips, and students will use short mobility and go to another university for a week or maybe 2 weeks for the field trip on the specific theme where they are in. And at the end, this will start in September, a semester, challenge-based capstone, and here the students will work together in multidisciplinary teams together with external stakeholders on a large, complex societal problem. And then we have the different roles in our education. We have the knowledge creation teams, mentors, joint further administration office, local teaching assistant at all the venues, assessors, educationists. And they are working very much together. And all of the universities are related to all those different parts. So it's a broad collaboration. And next slide. This is about the knowledge creating teams. It's an expanded network where we have researchers, teachers from all kinds of different disciplines together. And also they work together with educationists, work together with external stakeholders, and we would like very much students also involved in the co-creation of education. This is an example of the KCT, where you can see that although this is the theme water, a lot of teachers from all kinds of different disciplines are collaborating in this theme of water. Maybe I will now give you a short speech from Valerie, and then you take over?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so now I'm Valerie Borrell. KCT Water is above all a team. It is supportive and benevolent with very high educational and scientific objectives that would could not achieve alone. I'm a lecturer, researcher, and as a member of the KCT Water, I was in charge of imagining and building the content of the teaching units, a kind of modules. This happened mainly last year and in the previous semester. It was very difficult, not only because of the deadline, but especially because of the high quality and originality of the expected content. I'm not an expert in transdisciplinary myself, and yet I have to teach transdisciplinary water sciences. This is where we fully understand the absolutely necessity of the existing of KCTs. We got a lot of help from educationists. They are part of our KCT Water team. It was more than a help. They provided teachers with very constructive and effective advice, enabling us to achieve our objectives and innovative pedagogy, transdisciplinarity of water sciences, social integration, etc. To be sure that the students will follow a red line throughout the semester without redundancy, with complementary knowledge, crossing disciplines. At each hour of class, each member of the KCT Water had to be involved during the construction of each hour of courses. So it was very time consuming. And it still is, because we have to be involved in most of the hours taught. But it is very interesting experience. I learn a lot in the way of teaching, even if I was one of those teachers very involved in innovative education. There we have to go one step further. Thanks to this experience, I recently had the opportunity to start applying what I learned to other master courses and even to a research project within University of Montpellier. Thanks to this experience, I recently had the opportunity to start applying what I learned to other master courses and even to a research project. Let's go. For example, the UNESCO Center asked us to build a new workshop. The theme of the workshop is the reduce of risk of flooding in Africa cities with the transdisciplinary method ensuring social inclusion. Participants are researchers from different water disciplines. To build this workshop, I was able to use what I had learned during this last year at CharmU and adapt it to the new need. At this stage, we are only at the concept stage, and I can't wait to be there this summer to test in the real conditions. More modestly, I also implemented my new skills on short master's modules to increase learning in autonomy, in groups, to cross different perspectives. And I had a brief talk with Valerie. Unfortunately, she's not here because she would have been here standing extremely enthusiastic, because she said two things. One is, it is time consuming and it takes me a lot of time. On the other hand, I would not have missed it because I learned so many new things due to this charm concept and approach that it is so motivating. And also to see the students working together with all those teachers from different disciplines, that she is really a very great ambassador of this master program. And I don't think that this is the only teacher. So maybe I give the word to Carol Ann Sennett, who was involved in the preparatory phase, mainly.
Yes, exactly. Hello everyone, and yeah, I fully share Benedict's reflections and so I'm Carol Ann Sennett. I'm a researcher and lecturer in global sustainability governance at the Copernicus Institute of Sustainable Development in Utrecht University. And I have different hats in the Charmy program. The first one being the module coordinator of sustainability in phase 1, so in the preparatory phase. And I think you can go to the next slide. And the next one, yeah.
Yes, you can do this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this one, thank you. So yes, so perhaps beyond the reflection, what I want to convey today is perhaps some tips, some experience on how we engaged different members of the within the knowledge creating teams. So how we engage knowledge creating teams in the design and in the delivery of the sustainability course. So I think that first well, I mean, when it comes to the sustainability module, we engaged many teachers, many guest lecturers in different educational activities. So we reached out to different lecturers from different universities, from different disciplines. We also reached out to extra academic actors, so different types of external stakeholders who participated in what I called the Meet the Expert session. So these were sessions that were really designed for students to have a sneak peek into one's profession. So it was really about professional development. And of course, now we are very much involved also with Vanessa in the development of the third phase of the master, the capstone. And within the capstone, we are now attracting extra academic actors to collaborate with us, to collaborate with the students, with academics, in order to define, to identify sustainability challenges on which students will be working on during 6 months, starting from September 2022. So reflecting on the methods, we actually didn't really have a method in phase 1 for engaging KCTs and extra academic actors. So I think that the engagement was mainly bottom up. We used really a decentralized strategy with recruitment being mainly based on our own network. So we really reached out to our own professional network within universities and also beyond universities. Sorry. And of course, I mean, we're serious, so we still developed some criteria, some diversity criteria in order to select these actors, these KCT members, to really comply with the educational principles of CharmU and specifically with transdisciplinarity. So of course, we paid attention to gender, to the disciplinary background of the teachers. So for instance, in the sustainability module, we had historians, economists, political scientists as myself. We had biologists, and so on and so forth. So we also tried to engage researchers from different seniority levels. So for instance, we had PhD students who came in the course to really speak about their topic, their PhD research topic. And of course, we had teachers from different Charmy universities. And when it comes to external stakeholders, so here you have, for instance, some of the external stakeholders who participated in my course on sustainability. So different types, governmental agencies, NGO representatives from the United Nations, NGO representatives from a litigation NGO in France, and even Interpol. Uh, so yeah, I think that's it. I'm done. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I can briefly present the role of educationalist,
Yes, please.
maybe. Okay, so I'm Vanessa Vigano from the University of Montpellier, and I work in Charming as an educationalist. So the role of educationalist is actually one of supporting all the KCTs. We kind of divide all the educationalists in the 3 phases. Here you can see a slide. We had one of educationalists in phase 1 that actually cover also the role of module coordinator, Jake Byrne from KCT. Then we had a pair and a triplet down there for the 3 tracks of semester 2. And then in the capstone, I'm covering the role probably together with a colleague of mine. So our role as educationalists is to support the KCTs coming from different disciplines to design their module accordingly to the principle. It's pretty ambitious. So we do have different disciplines involved. We have 10 principles to be followed in the activities offered by our teaching staff. And we have people from 5 and then will be 8 partner universities. So we do have also the cultural ambition as well. So we do meet. I'm sorry, we are not smiling during that meeting. Maybe it was a really hard one, I don't know. But we do meet in between us to be sure that we are aligned, that we are following the same path in terms of advices given to the KCTs. And some of us has special, let's say, are specializing in some specific principles. For example, I'm in the geek team, so I will put an eye on the technology enhanced in the design of everything, and so on. And my colleagues as well, they cover we cover all of them. So how we do that. So you have seen that picture of meeting online. We do run online meeting in between us as a team, but also with the KCTs online. And then sometimes we organize amazing hackathon. Some of you, Patrick, for example, participate in one of those. We made one face-to-face hackathon here in Montpellier in September, and the second one in Budapest in December. It's an amazing experience because you can also for the KCTs themselves, they can meet, they can really network in between them, they can create that special and charming energy. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Yes, now we come to questions. Maybe there are questions at this moment after hearing this introduction.
Well, maybe one question. Just how much time do these external KCT members actually have to invest in the? I mean, one thing is you're part of the team who I'm kind of hired. I hope.
Yeah.
On the other
Me
hand.
too, but yeah, I guess so.
And then there are the externals. How much time do they have to invest in? How do you get them on board?
Yeah, good question. When we started getting the KCT members engaged, we tried to gather names, people from out of our universities who would be interested in working with Charm. And then we, within the university, find out the ones who really could play a role, because we had quite a large numbers of teachers who applied to be a part of the Charm community, and there were too many. So we had to do some kind of a selection. That doesn't mean that they cannot take part of Charm, because we also, during the education, need the experts on specific fields of discipline during the activities of the students. So then we get them in, but for the development of the modules, we need well, a few number of people, but we wanted from all of our university people in the different modules. And the amount of time what we worked out in the start, and it was Jill and me specifically who tried to find the numbers of hours that the teachers could play, and that was an estimation, and it's difficult. And when we started to develop the master program and the modules, then it always comes to the most enthusiastic, motivated persons. So when you have a group of 10, there are 3 or 4 doing more work than others. But we succeeded in getting the complete group engaged. That's also what I explained, what Valerie mentioned. The groups are really very enthusiastic groups working together. And when we had the hackathon here in last September, that was for the flexible phase. We had the water, food, life and health here in Montpellier. And then they met for the first time in real life. Before that, they were working for more than half a year online. So that was also very nice that people could meet each other. But that was really very motivated, inspiring 2 days of hard work, and everyone was very much engaged. And what they came out with afterwards was that they now imagine that if you watch the problems of water, that you can watch them from different angles and different perspectives, and that they can really bring in their own expertise in those themes. And that was also opening the eyes of the researchers, because they are more doing research than education, and not education in this kind of education. But it is hard to give you an exact answer on the time. And yes, it is time consuming, specifically because we are building something new. So yeah.
There's Valerie in the photo, maybe you can point her out.
Yeah.
She is in the middle over there. Yeah, that's Valerie.
Can I jump in? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So I think that what I wanted to say, so when in the sustainability module, when we reached out to external stakeholders, it was very much on an ad hoc basis. So with one-time interventions within the course. So I think that now the next step for us would be to really scale up the engagement of external actors within TRAMU. And in my view, the capstone will be a key milestone for doing this, because external stakeholders will collaboratively work with students and with academic supervisors during 6 months. And I think that we will further strengthen our network and the engagement of stakeholders within, in the subsequent academic years of the program. My view. Thanks.
Rosine.
Yeah, it was something very similar around the sustainability of it, like keeping people interested. The sustainability over time. Like after the proposal, the first proposal is then how do you continue to engage? I think you've got the KCT members engaged as mentors, who's finding a role in between.
Yes.
In between the curriculum design, finding a role that keeps people involved.
Yeah. And yes, of course, because it is something new, innovative, we had some replacements. So sometimes there was a teacher involved, and they said, "Well, sorry, but it's not for me. It's too innovative, and they could not." And that's fine. But most of the people who joined from the beginning, they are still in. Yeah.
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 May I add something on this aspect also? For example, we are going to organize an hackathon for the fine tuning. So the idea is to welcome the new people that would substitute the KCT that are not continuing the next cohort, and also to fine tune the actual design to scale up easier, as Caroline said. So we have actually some useful feedbacks, and we do have a kind of procedure as educationists as well now after this pilot. So yeah, I guess it will cost less in the future in terms of time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because now we are developing, so that is different than when you have a regular program after a few editions. But there is one thing coming back to the amount of time, that we are talking about researchers, and the researchers are assessed by their research. And we have quite a lot of KCT members who work quite hard for charm, and that's education. And not all of them, they are assessed on their education output, but on the research output. So there is some discrepancy about rewarding and recognition. And I also discussed this with Valerie a couple of days ago. And then I mentioned, couldn't we find a way to do some kind of research about development of the Charm Master Program? Because we are doing something new. So you could write a paper, maybe a qualitative one, but you could write a paper about the experiences of this development of a new curriculum. And then she gets really inspired. So, okay, yes, I would like to do that. So maybe that can also be helpful. Although it's not a research on their water discipline, but on the education, that still can be a possibility to get some research deliverables, and that she can use for their assessment. But that's also what we need to take care of. I would like to go to the.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
From here.
Because we have the governance of the KCTs. What we want is to have this broader community working together in developing the education. It's sometimes difficult. So now we mostly have teachers and researchers. We have less external stakeholders. We have less students. We use the students all in the very beginning when we were developing the curriculum design. Then we had a forum with the students here in Montpellier, and that was somewhere October 2020. When we had the first outlines, we discussed it with the students, an interesting group of students from all of our universities. But we would like to have more people involved, and we have some questions in the Miro board. What we would like very much that you discuss and give your suggestions and inputs, and that we can have some discussions about later on. So we have now different groups. So if you would.
Maybe I can show the Miro board.
Yeah. Are you the business for our group? Is there an answer?